it going, everyone? Looks like a lot quieter without Toxic here. Let me check the thread. I think today, because we're in a pretty good place with like lessons and stuff, I think we can focus pretty much entirely on how everyone's games are performing. Is there anyone here who has yet to publish their game? Or rather, why don't you reply in the chat with whether or not you have published a game? Yes or no? Okay, so IQ Level Up is published. Nuvu is unpublished. B Little is published. Let's see. So I'm going to look at the games that are posted here. Does anybody want to start sharing their numbers if they have published so far? Post a screenshot, whatever you like, of your median playtime and the graph breakdown of which session length you're getting. 0 to 10 seconds, 10 to 30, that kind of thing. Hmm. Okay, so IQ Level Up shared first. 45 seconds. We definitely want to bring that up for sure. If you look at the graph, it looks like you're spiking around 30 to 60 seconds. So what that probably tells me, and these are all you're always guesstimating with this stuff, but my guess is that people aren't really having trouble getting into the game. We're probably not worried about download issues, probably not having major problems with onboarding. 30 to 60 seconds, it's usually a safe bet that they are playing the game. It's just a question of what's holding their attention. Let's see. B Little's got 108. That's great. It's definitely closer. By the way, the goal for everybody, and it's not necessarily realistic for every game, but we're just calling this kind of our baseline goal is a minute 20, which is pretty high. And if you're lower than that, it can seem insurmountable. And like I said, not every game is going to get there, and it doesn't always mean your game is bad. It could just mean that there's a reason why it's not everybody's preference, but it could still be a very well-made game. But 120 is kind of the baseline we use. 120 and up, it's unqualified success. Between a minute and 120, it's usually things are good, but they could probably be better. And then below a minute usually means things need improvement, right? And so B Little's sharing a graph that's 19.2 thousand plays, minute 8. So it's pretty safe to say that at a minute 8, I'm sorry, that at 19K plays, that's a reasonably stable number. It may go up, it may go down on its own, but if you want to really change it at this point, it's probably going to require changes to the game, right? And if I look at the play duration graph, it looks pretty good in the sense that there's almost nothing in 0 to 10, which is good. 0 to 10 is a bad sign. That means people aren't even getting the game to load, basically. 10 to 30 seconds, it'd be great to see that get lower, but 30 to 60 seconds is high, minute, 2 minutes is high, even 2 to 5 minutes looks pretty good, which means there's definitely people playing this for a good amount of time, right? Now let's look at C-Spark. C-Spark, I agree. Great job. First of all, 138K plays. So first of all, nice job scoring a ton of plays. And it definitely means this number is very, very solid. A minute 12 is a very good score, or rather a very good median playtime. And if you look at the concentration is into 1 to 2 minutes, which is substantial. Playing a game for between 1 and 2 minutes means you're definitely into it. You're not disliking the game so much that you're quitting. We always want to get this higher, but remember, this is median, right? Or rather, I'm sorry, not median, but this is the graph down here is all those plays are a minute to 2 minutes, but you can see there's probably 17,000 plays that are 2 to 5 minutes, which is a pretty good sign. That means a lot of people like this game. Nuvu's got a minute 17. That is amazing. Fantastic work. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That's for all your games. Which is the game in particular? By the way, while we're doing this, I'll start playtesting some.
So like what's the game that I'm worried about, or what do you mean?
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
We are posting a game that we're worried that does not make it.
Oh, no, I see. Yes. No, what we're doing is we're sharing whichever game we've been focusing on recently. So most people have a particular game that they're working on for Astro Academy. So if you have that game, post it. Otherwise, just maybe post whatever your most recent published game is. Whatever game you're kind of working on at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So we'll get a little bit of game test going, but let's keep this conversation going as well of posting your performance. And then as we get to your game, we can brainstorm some updates you might consider doing to see if you can increase performance. Hey, by the way, speaking of which, has everybody read the DJM document that I shared over the weekend? If not, I will share it in the chat again. But this is a really, really great document that I think everybody should take a little bit of time to study. DJM, if you're not familiar, is one of our top creators, pretty close to the top creator. He's made a bunch of games that have just racked up millions and millions of plays, and his most recent game, City Rider, is one of those games. And he shared a document that he's calling a devlog, which is basically all of his thinking, every decision he made to identify and increase his game's playtime. So I've shared this again in the chat, but it's also in the Astro Academy channel. So Nuvu, which game is this for? Looks like you've got a median playtime of a minute. So this is the this is the Russian roulette game, right? Yeah. Okay, let's see. So let's start sharing with that, and we'll keep in mind that this game has a minute-long median playtime. Is that right? I can see that under play duration. Okay. By the way, I'll give you guys a little extra caveat. When I say a minute 20 is the goal, one problem with that is that, of course, if you imagine every different kind of game, there's not one ideal play session length. Some games, no matter how perfectly made they are just longer or shorter play sessions. Some of that is just the nature of the game, right? So it isn't necessarily fair to say every single game should be held to that standard, but it's really just a way to kind of orient our thinking. It's a first step towards having an idea of what's good or bad, but you can still adjust things a little bit. And the reason I say that is because some games are meant to be really simple, really memey, and they can be really fun, but they're not necessarily designed to have long play sessions. And so if you've made a game like that, that's just meant to be a quick hit, just fun dopamine release, it isn't necessarily a game people are going to play for 5-10 minutes on end, and holding yourself to a minute 20 median playtime just might not be realistic, right? So my point is not that we should all panic and lose sleep over whether or not we have exactly that number, but it's just to give you an idea of what we generally consider success. And then you kind of adjust it depending on what you think applies to your game. All right, so I've got Nuvu's game loaded up, High Stakes Roulette. And again, Nuvu, just to confirm, this is a minute-long median playtime, which means the median, the middle playtime, if you lay out every single play session length, is 1 minute. Okay. Now that's kind of what we consider kind of the baseline, the lowest generally acceptable amount. Anything lower than a minute, we start to think about downgrading it. But a minute and up, you're kind of in the conversation of like a decent, reasonably well-performing game. So let's keep that in mind while we play this. By the way, I played it earlier with some sound. The sound effects are excellent, but they're kind of loud. So, in fact, I'll do one round so everybody can hear it. Wait, do I have that muted? Sorry, unmuted. Okay. So it looks like I am loading bullets, and then I can just spin the cylinder and fire, I guess. Okay. So the visuals and the sound of this game are great. The sound effects in particular are perfect. It's like exactly what I expected. The gunfire, the rotation, loading it up. The music in the background is kind of cool. So it looks like the purpose of the game, and I'm doing my usual playtest thing. I'm not looking at the chat. I'm just giving you my totally unbiased thoughts, just playing it for basically the first time. Is it sounds like I make money every time I fire, and there's no bullet in the chamber. Like, Russian roulette, you obviously don't want the bullet to be there when you pull the trigger. And then game is over. Okay. So I have a couple of minor thoughts and some bigger thoughts. The first one is, like, I load these and then I spin, and it's a little weird that they go away. And I'm wondering if the reason they go away is because I don't want to know which chamber has the bullet in it when I shoot, which makes sense. The problem, though, is that it also makes the game look like it's broken because the bullets that I just loaded in disappear. So I'm almost wondering if there's another way to hide the contents of the chamber once you start spinning and shooting, so that it doesn't look like a bug. Because to me, it looks like a mistake as opposed to a deliberate choice. But again, it makes sense because you want to pull the trigger without knowing whether or not there's a bullet there. So I get that. The other issue is that I don't want to be gross and morbid. I'm not saying put a person there to get shot, but it's a little funny that I'm pulling the trigger, but it looks like I'm just kind of facing wallpaper. Like the gun isn't really pointed at anything. And I wonder if it'd be kind of fun if maybe there's like a pinata or a watermelon or something where it's not necessarily gross and violent, but there's clearly a thing you're aiming the gun at that you don't want to shoot or something. Because even though I love the simplicity of this game, it'd be kind of cool if there were like slightly higher stakes, right?
Yeah, you are shooting yourself. The idea is that.
No, I get it, but I mean, yeah, it's a little dark. You're welcome to go dark if you want. We don't have a policy necessarily against that. I guess the point I'm bringing it up is because whether you're thinking of shooting yourself or not, it's not really visible. Like, it just looks like I'm facing a wall. So there might be just something. Also, think of it like this. Say I'm making this up hypothetically. Say you shoot at like a watermelon or a pinata or whatever. It'd be kind of funny if when you do shoot it and it blows up, you see the thing explode. Like, you see the watermelon blow up. You see the pinata shoot the candy or something like that. It'd be a little bit more of a payoff. That's just an idea. But let's focus on performance. So your game's at a minute, which is actually a really good starting point, especially for such a simple game. If people are spending a minute on this, you've probably got something here that you can build on, right? I like the idea of, like, you can spin, you can finish the round, you can shoot. So you kind of got the basics covered, and it looks and feels really polished. You've put a lot of work into making this feel like a real game. That's great. I wonder, though, if part of the reason why it maybe isn't performing as well as it could is something like what I said, which is it feels very abstract. I'm just looking at a cylinder kind of floating over this reddish background, and it's not really clear to me what the stakes are. In fact, when you first start the game, I get it, tap the chamber, right? Like, that kind of makes sense. But, like, I feel like it could be clearer what this is all about. I think most people understand what Russian roulette is in concept, but I guess because I'm just facing this wall, I don't know the first time playing this if that's literally what I'm doing or if there's some other reason why I'm going to load the gun up. So that's one thought. Another thought would be, like I said, maybe you can see that you're going to shoot something. Some actual object is going to get shot. And then the last question is, like, if I look around, spin the thing, shoot, do we have any options that keep the players engaged? So say I get through a few rounds or whatever. Are there upgrades? Are there power-ups? Like, I just started playing, but why don't you just let me know what
there are.
Okay.
Just start easy. You don't kill yourself.
Sorry. I'll mute this. Say that again, please.
You can finish round.
Okay. So actually, you know what? Let me start. I have a question for you. So when I start this game, I mean, if I just put one bullet in there, then obviously the reward is lower. That's the idea. Like, the more bullets I put in, the higher the reward.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, here we go. So now I got it. Now I've got these upgrades. Helmet, that's kind of funny. Obviously, a helmet is helpful during Russian roulette. Very cool. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I can't afford anything yet. Okay, let's try again. So I'm going to spin the cylinder. I'm going to shoot it. Okay, I'm going to buy this. 10% misfire chance. Cool. So you can kind of grind, I guess, at the beginning by mostly just doing these one bullet bets. It's a way to make some money, maybe.
The interesting thing, you can remember the pattern you loaded, and
ooh, smart.
depending on how many bullets you shoot in a row, you may know in front that you can shoot another two and you'll just be safe.
Right. Yeah, that's smart. So in other words, if I do like this kind of alternating pattern, then it's like if I shoot and I didn't, oh, it said blocked, which means it did fire, but I know the next one's empty. And then I know the next one has a thing in it. So, okay, yeah, that's cool. There's a lot of cool strategy here. Okay, so we're at a minute, right? And the goal is to get people to play for a little bit longer than they do. The game is so simple that I don't want to overcomplicate it. I think you've done a good job of making a really straightforward, simple game. I think maybe the thing that I would like the most is to feel like the rewards are more meaningful than just a currency number up in the corner, right? And I wonder if maybe one of the ways you can make games kind of engage people for a little bit longer is if they can visually see a sense of accomplishment and sort of collection. So I wonder if one possibility is like I'm going to make up some really bad ideas, but just to get you the point, like as you win money, you're seeing cash stack up from the bottom of the screen, or you're collecting like rewards that are visibly accumulating somewhere, or something like that, so that as you play the game longer, I feel like I have something to show for it. So the core gameplay remains really simple, but there's a sense of achievement if I play for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Whereas right now, I feel like other than this number going up, visually the game doesn't look any different 5 minutes from now than it does right now. Do you know what I mean? Does it make sense?
That is a really good idea. I'll make some solar stacks all on the table.
Okay. Another idea could be that the thing. So I had this idea that, and if this isn't your style, don't let me pressure you into changing your game. But I was saying it'd be kind of cool if the gun were aiming at something. And my suggestion was something not super dark, like not a person's head, but if it were something like a pinata or fruit or priceless vase or something. It might also be kind of funny if the thing that you're aiming at is part of the bet. Now I am kind of complicating the game, but it's like, say level 1, you load up the gun and you aim it at a watermelon. It's like, who really cares if you shoot the watermelon? So you don't win that much money. But you can raise the stakes to like, I'm aiming it at like this priceless piece of art. So now it really matters if I shoot this thing or not. So there could be multiple dimensions of progression. Not only is there the accumulating your rewards, and then there's getting the power-ups you already have in the shop, which is great, but then there could also be the thing you're pointing the gun at also progresses and changes over time. So there's stuff to kind of shoot for. Sorry, that was a dumb pun. Literally shoot for. But there's things for the player to kind of strive for. You know, there's more and more risky and valuable things to aim your gun at. That's just a random idea. So, but I think you get the point, which is things that over time make the player feel more invested in the game is a really good way to get your numbers up, especially if it keeps the game simple. Because if you complicate the game, that's another reason people might play it less, because it's just more brain power. But if you keep the core gameplay really simple, while the payoff of the game gets more elaborate and more visual, you kind of get the best of both worlds that way. But like I said, I love the simplicity of the game. It's a really clever idea. It's kind of fun. Even just playing it here, talking through it, I kind of see why somebody might get kind of hooked on it. So really good work. And like I said, I love all the details. The sound effects are great. The atmosphere is really cool. So great start.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. All right, back to Gravity Core 3D. How is Gravity Core? This is the one that's at 45 seconds, correct? Okay, so let's see how we're doing. So I've said before, I think this game looks great. We have a continual long-running conversation about the center tile, which is kind of the one sticky part of this whole game. But other than that, it looks and feels really. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. Yeah, look at me. I'm rushing. Okay. No, this is a great point because the whole point is to diagnose. So we should go through everything. Okay, Gravity Core 3D. Play. Tap any highlighted zone to move. Avoid the middle. It's not clickable. Okay? I feel like that makes sense. Ooh, that was very cool. That looked really good too. That also felt much better than in the past. In the past, I've often been confused by that part of the tutorial, but the way you just did that looked and felt really good. So this is all looking great. I think this tutorial. Oh, look, you added the shadow. I totally missed it, but that was not your fault. Okay, dig the shadow. And it is, I'm using the keyboard, which I prefer, but it does make it easier to hit the power up. So actually, okay, my first question is, when did you make this change? This whole shadow power up thing? Hmm. Uh-huh. So this was published when though? When were these updates published? No, sorry, that's what I meant to say. I mean, you've published the changes so that the published version of the game is updated, is what I'm asking. Okay, cool. Right. So yeah, so what I'm getting at is that once you publish your game and you start looking at the numbers, then of course the next natural step is you publish updates to your game to try to anticipate what people are looking for, maybe they're not getting, and try to change the game in that way to see if the numbers go up, right? So the reason I ask is it's been about a day, which means you may not have really good data yet. Sometimes it takes a couple of days to see changes, but we now have something to consider. Like it could be that, ooh, that's tough. It could be that this kind of change will make a positive change. We need to give it a little bit of time to find out. And then if it doesn't, then maybe there's some other reason why this game isn't engaging people as long as we like. So when I look at the usual stuff that I expect from a game like this, I think it's got most of it. Like I always say, it looks really good. It plays really well. I'm assuming it's playing well. I mean, sometimes it's also worth checking um, other phones if you have access to another device or whatever. If you have friends that have different operating systems, different levels of hardware, because it's good to test your game on basically on different devices to see if they don't perform in quite the same way. Um, so that's one thing to do because sometimes your playtime could be low because say you have iOS and you don't realize there's some reason your game doesn't perform well on Android or vice versa, and a huge number of people have one OS or the other. That could be the reason why a game is not performing. That happened to me once. So it actually is not uncommon. But usually once you've worked that out, if you're reasonably sure that it runs decent on other devices, then usually what's left is the game itself. So playing through this game, and I always say this: the benefit of playtesting is you get multiple opinions. This is just my one opinion. What I'm starting to think now that I play through it and I feel like I get the controls, it all plays pretty well. I feel like I'm trying to phrase this carefully because I actually don't have like a clear idea in my mind. But I feel like the game itself is really great. I wonder if the way the game feels though can still frustrate people a little bit. And I'm not sure what to suggest because I don't think there's anything wrong with the game. I really like the general. It's so simple. It's not you can't really mess it up. It's got this great directional control, which is nice. Um, but I feel like somehow when I'm playing this game, and I know I'm I always play terribly when I'm talking in this class. Like I get that, but I wonder if there's a way to make the game a little bit more forgiving. Because one of the balances we try to get on Astrocade is you want the games to be challenging enough to be fun, but simple enough to feel casual. Because a lot of our audience, they're looking for like quick, simple fun. They're not necessarily looking some deep dive hardcore gaming experience. So if you find that the game is perhaps not as is not performing the way you want, one of the questions you can ask yourself is, would a casual gamer find any of this either too difficult or too frustrating or just too demanding in some way? And can you make it a little bit gentler? And you may notice that in DJam's doc, he basically had that issue. He had this really simple, really cool game where you just basically ride a motorcycle straight forward, but there were still opportunities to make the game a little bit simpler because people were kind of frustrated by crashing. It seemed too easy to lose the game. So he just made the game a little bit easier. He didn't change it. It's still the same game, but there was just a little bit of like extra grace that he gave the players that helped a lot. So I think the first thing I would look for in a game like this is not do you change the concept, because the concept is really good, but is there a way to make the game a little bit easier? And if you don't want to make it easier, that's your call. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your game. You should do whatever you want to do. But one of the ways to get the numbers up, if that's important to you, is to consider, making the game a little bit easier to get into, especially for first-time player that maybe hasn't spent any time practicing or that kind of thing. So that's probably where I'd go here, because the game itself is really mature. It's in really good shape. I think the main thing that's left is the difficulty curve turning some players off. B Little is sharing distaste for iOS. We all have our biases. It is true though, that whatever operating system you're on, the one that you're not using is where problems often lurk. So, for instance, just to share something with you guys, I made that ragdoll slingshot game last week, and when I posted it, I noticed at some point after the play count, or the median playtime was kind of going up very slowly, but it was going up. It all of a sudden started to tank. It just started plummeting, and I started panicking because like something was really going wrong with my game. I couldn't figure it out, and then by complete chance, I found out that on some Android phones, it's completely unplayable because the Android browser was interpreting the tap and the drag motion, because you have to tap the slingshot and pull it back with a drag to fire it. It was interpreting that as something else. It wasn't letting the game get that gesture. So the game never knew the player was even trying to pull the slingshot back, and they would just stand there getting killed. They couldn't play the game. So, of course, the moment a lot of Android users started playing the game, they gave up after just a few seconds because it didn't work. And I didn't even know that. It was total coincidence that I discovered that. And if I hadn't figured that out, I would just assume my game sucks and nobody wants to play it. But thank God I figured out that on Androids it doesn't work. I have an iPhone. So then I spent, maybe an hour trying to work it out. I just figured out there was some browser issue that whatever. I got Astra to fix it, re-uploaded the game, and within a day the play count had gotten higher than it was originally before it started falling. So it's really, really important to make sure there's no tech issue why your game isn't performing well, because you never know. And by the way, one thing I love about IQ Level Up's game is there's a ton of polish, and I talk a lot about how the game mechanic itself is not is more important than the polish, which is true. No amount of polish is going to make up for a bad game mechanic. This game, I think, has both. The game mechanic is good and the polish is great. And so my interpretation there is the game isn't doing anything wrong, and the polish in particular is probably helping people enjoy it a lot. It could, so really, to me, like what's left is stuff like difficulty curve, or maybe they do play it for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, maybe they really like it, but in their opinion it's not changing enough. So there's actually two things I would suggest exploring. One is, can you make the game easier if you think that's worth doing? And two, if people are playing the game fine, maybe there's no difficulty challenge, are they just getting bored with it after a minute or so? It could just be that not enough happens later on in the game, so it's something else to consider. Once you've got that basic game mechanic working, you got the juice and all that, then you want to think, will this hold somebody's attention for 1 minute, for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes? Like, assume the person loves your game. Assume you haven't done anything wrong. They're into it. The question then is, even if they love it, are they just bored after a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever? That's kind of the question I ask at this point in development. Okay, let's check out the next game. The next game is going to be Cube Cube Rush from Infinity. So I had suggested last week we try the clickbait headlines, and we have a new master, everybody. This is the greatest clickbait, sorry, not headline, clickbait thumbnail I've ever seen. Also, I love that you're making up fake reviews and you still didn't get greedy. You didn't even go 5 stars. You gave it 4.9, which I guess makes it more realistic, which is diabolical. So I cannot give you enough credit for this amazing thumbnail. Great job. I love it. I mean, I hate it, but that's why I love it. I love it because I hate it so much. It's phenomenal. Play now. Oh, I can't get over how great this is. Okay, let's start the game. So once again, we have our gigantic, super huge title text. By the way, this came up in the Astro Academy channel. It sounds like the huge text was not intentional. And in fact, this may be an example of what I was just talking about, which is, I think what the creator at Infinity had said was that this text fits into the screen on their device. But then, as you can see when I'm screen sharing on my device, it goes over the edges. Now, again, I like that. I think it looks cool, but I think a lot of people think it's a mistake. So that's something to think about. Hey, by the way, this is also why playtesting is great with screen sharing, because you can just watch me share my screen and you immediately know there's something different when I load the game. That's a really useful thing. That's why if you want to test your game, if you absolutely have to, you can just send somebody the link and have them send you their feedback. But that's the worst way to do it. If you have to do it, great. If you have no other choice, but if you do have a choice, always ask them to screen share so you can watch them play. Because even if they give you feedback, you don't even know if they know what to tell you. You know your game better than anybody else. So you should be the one watching somebody play it. So you can immediately diagnose anything that's wrong. Okay, anyway, enough lecture. Let's get into the game. Ooh, wow. Something I'd suggest was show me like borders of where the edge of the screen is. These are beautiful. I love the teal and magenta color scheme. That's really cool. There also appears to be like a soft glow on the blocks now, if I'm not mistaken, which looks, man, the just the visual effects in this game have seriously leveled up. Man, this looks really, really, really good. I'm very impressed by just the visuals alone. And I feel like one of the best kinds of games you can make on Astrocade is a game that has super simple gameplay and then a lot of nice juice and visual polish. This is a great example of that. The game itself is so casual and so simple, and yet because it's so polished, it feels like a really premium game, which is really, really cool. I love the screen tint when I get hit. That's awesome. Okay, so let me try to play a little bit more seriously. So I love this, and I love the tracks on the side of the. I'm sorry, the walls on the side of the track. I'm sorry to nitpick though, but technically that really isn't what I was asking for, and this is just my opinion. So it's up to you to decide if you care about this. But the reason I had suggested that was because visually, it's often hard for me to tell when my free space ends, because you'll notice I know I'm at the edge of the screen. Like I get that. So the edge of the screen should be an indication I can't move any further left or right. The problem though is I can see when I look down the track that there is more empty space on the road, right? So even though I'm at the edge of the screen, part of me thinks I should kind of be able to scroll off screen, or maybe the camera will follow me. And so I keep getting kind of frustrated by thinking I have more room to move there, and then I don't. So anyway, that's a long way of saying that my suggestion is bring those walls in further so it's crystal clear where my available space to move ends. Because right now it's still not totally clear. Mm, that's another idea. If we can what? Oh, jump, jump. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, there's I don't believe there's a jump from what I can see. I'm not seeing a jump button. Jump would be cool. The thing about jumping is I think that'd be fun. I would definitely use it if I had it, but I also feel like that would definitely change the concept of the game a little bit. So that's one of those things where it's really up to the creator to decide, is that the game I'm making or not? I know that as a player, if there was a jump option, I would love that. But it could also be that the creator's like, I wanted a simple left and right movement game, and I don't want to add that dimension. So it's kind of their call. But personally, yes, I think that would be a lot of fun. Okay, so now that I'm done kind of talking about like look and feel stuff, I'm just playing the game, and I wonder again. So one of the things we talk about in Astro Academy is the guaranteed win. It's a really common design feature in casual games, and the idea is, in fact, let me start the game over to demonstrate this. So I'm just going to reload from scratch. Um, and I see there's an anti-lose mode. I'll check that out in a second, but I go to normal mode. And the thing about it is, this game doesn't necessarily need a guaranteed win in the traditional sense because there's no one thing you do first. You just start moving down the road and the obstacles come at you, right? Um, and I think that that's fine, but I wonder if the game maybe gets a little bit too challenging too quickly. So I want to say this carefully because I don't want to give bad advice. Making the game too easy for too long will probably make the game boring. So my point is not that making a game easier is always a win. Sometimes being easy is the reason people don't like it. Of course, it's a balance, like everything in life. But even though this game's game mechanic is super simple, for a lot of casual gamers, this could be just pretty taxing on their reflexes. So there's two things to think about. One is, can you maybe flatten the difficulty curve just a little bit? So maybe it takes longer to get to this level of speed and density. The other thing that we talk about in Astro Academy is the sawtooth difficulty curve. Sawtooth basically means that as the game gets more difficult, it occasionally gets easier again before getting more difficult. So I'm making a hand gesture that you guys can't see, but it's like imagine going up a little bit, then down a little bit, then up a little bit, then down a little bit, then up a little bit. And one of the reasons for that is even if the player loves the challenge and they want the game to get more difficult, most people like to have a sense of cooldown, like they can relax a little bit after they achieve the next difficulty level, even if they're really into it, because otherwise you can kind of get burned out, you can kind of feel overwhelmed. So another thing this game might benefit from would be like something like, think of it like this, maybe after the difficulty spikes up, it either drops a little bit for 30 seconds, or maybe there are temporary rounds, say 10, 15, 20 seconds, where you're invincible or all the blocks go transparent and you can move through them and you just collect all the power-ups you can. And it's super easy, it's super fun, and then the challenge comes back. So imagine taking a break from the obstacle course for a 20-second stretch, and then for a 30-second stretch, the obstacles are back, and you alternate between 30 seconds of obstacles, 20 seconds of free collection, and back and forth. And so players get this break where after they've been weaving around all these obstacles and they feel really good about their skill, they get like a victory lap. They get like a reward to just have some fun doing nothing for 20 seconds. Those kind of things can keep people playing the game longer because even if they love the challenge, they never get burned out and they keep getting that sense of accomplishment. Like, look how much I'm winning, right? So that's something to think about. And then one last thing, and then I'll get back into the chat. I'm going to check out anti-lose mode, which I'm intrigued by. So far this looks the same, but I wonder if this means... Okay, so I can blow up, but it looks like I just keep coming back, which is kind of cool. So maybe this is sort of like the easier mode where you still have the challenge of avoiding the obstacles, but the game never actually ends. Although I am noticing the game is not speeding up now. I'm letting myself get hit, and I keep coming back. That's cool. I wonder though, if you're going to have an anti-lose mode, can you still have the speed up effect? Because it's kind of nice to have this simple mode where I can't lose, but it also seems like it just stays at a very low speed, which might not be as fun for people. By the way, what is going on up here? I wonder if I'm not seeing something that's off screen. I wonder if this is another layout issue. Interesting question. It is spreading. Plankton Fun points it out. Okay, so anyway, hopefully this is being recorded. I should start recording this myself, by the way. But that's my feedback for Infinity. I think that there's a lot of ways to make this game better in terms of performance, because the game itself, I'm not even playing, by the way, right now. The game itself is really great. It looks awesome, and the core mechanic is super simple. It's very nicely refined. I think what it needs now is think about two things. Think about difficulty, and think about potentially giving people a kind of a cooldown phase. Make it harder, then make it easier. Then make it harder, then make it easier. And give people that alternating sense of difficulty and then payoff. So that's my advice. Okay, next up. Oh, Erica's got a new game. Boy, yeah, it is a quiet day. No Toxic, no Erica. Let's see what she's up to. Step 1, spray. Touch and drag to the wall to spray grime. Get 5% coverage. Step 2, switch tools. Tap to different... So this is kind of cool. This really looks good. These visuals are great. And there's a lot of juice, a lot of like haptic feedback. So first of all, Eric, I'm very impressed. Excellent visuals. This really looks solid. What am I doing exactly? I know I'm trying to kind of, I guess I'm trying, it's like the reverse of those power washing games. This is like I have to coat everything with grime, which is kind of cool. One thing I will immediately share is that, okay, that's better. So I like being able to hold down. This feels really good, but I don't know if it was the bomb thing. I feel like maybe the whole point of the bomb is that you don't hold it down, so that if so, that's fair. But I definitely feel like anything I can hold down feels more satisfying, because then you just kind of get lost in the movement. This is a really, really cool concept, really simple, and the juice in the presentation is pretty solid. Although I am noticing that it's like a lot of other games where, oh, do I have to fill in the area around the object? See, that confuses me. That is very confusing. So for instance, here's a fire hydrant. My assumption was that I only have to cover the fire hydrant itself. Like you can see, I'm just making this area green. But it sounds like I also have to get this empty area. I don't know if there's a easy way to solve that. There actually should be. There should be a way to solve that. We can maybe talk about it offline, Erica, if you want to ping me. I know I'm behind on DMs. I'll try to get back to everybody today. But yeah, this is so close to being really good. I think the thing that's going to mess a lot of people up is they won't realize they're supposed to fill in these empty areas. And then I guess my other question is, and maybe this is something to unlock through upgrades, but it'd be really cool if I could change the color. I know green is kind of like a good gross grime color. That's fine. Maybe it starts off that way. But it would be kind of cool if you could eventually make this like, blue, red, yellow, whatever. I guess depending on the object, like this yellow wouldn't look good on a yellow mailbox or newspaper box. But the reason is people, everyone has like a favorite color, and it's great to have something to aim for. Like I played the game a lot, and now I want to have like, uh, a customized version of this or something. But I mean, yeah, the concept is great. It's fun. It's simple. You can kind of get lost playing it. So this is a good concept. Any game jam questions, by the way? Ask Monvi about that. She's the expert. Okay, I got a hard stop at 11:30. I'm gonna try to speed through these and get to the next game. Sorry, someone was just saying something. What was that?
Do the games get like a separate line on the website, or do people game jam games?
What about game jam games?
Are they displayed on the website, or how do we find it?
Not so kind of. We're actually still working on that right now. The game jams mostly exist in the Discord, but we are working on making them more visible on the actual homepage. So that's in the works. But currently, I mean, the games do show up on the homepage, but they're not labeled as game jam games yet. That's still
So
something we're working on.
they don't get the boost for the competition or something.
No, not really.
Okay.
Although again, in the future, we do want to draw more attention to them, so they probably will at some point. But for now, they're just like any other game. Okay, so this is a game we've been watching evolve a lot, and it's been really cool to see it take on this more elaborate form. This is kind of like a pirate raft management sim, which is very cool. You basically have to keep track of your ammo. You have to keep your ship repaired so it doesn't sink, and of course, as pirates attack, you have to defend yourself. it it is very very fun when you manage to sink a raft. It's something I want to talk more about this week. I don't have any materials prepared yet, but I think that the biggest secret to unlocking playtime, it's not anything elaborate or fancy. It's even not even necessarily the stuff I've been talking about today, like difficulty and progression. Those things help. I'm not saying they aren't important. But I think the most important thing is just that core game mechanic being really simple and really satisfying. And this game has a little bit of that, where when I shoot the cannon, oh, Kraken. When I shoot the cannon and I make the raft sink, it's just an incredibly satisfying feeling. And I think people just get hooked on stuff like that. So even if people aren't that into the concept of your game, if they don't care about their score, they don't care about upgrades, but there's just something, boy, the collision on this is finicky, but there's just something satisfying about the core mechanic. You're usually in really good shape if you can get to that point. So I'm gonna maybe stop blabbing and actually see if I can sort of play this game. Did I reload? Did I successfully reload that? Oh, I did not successfully reload that. I'm about to get killed by. Wait a second. Hold on. Is that move to ammo crates? Is this not the ammo? Oh, E to reload. Okay, good. Boy, I am dying. So a couple thoughts on the Kraken thing. I think the Kraken is a great idea. It's super fun, but man, it is hard to shoot 6 different tentacles while they're all attacking you. And I found that the collision detection was not great. It seemed like a lot of the shots that fired at the Kraken just didn't seem to connect. So that can frustrate people. Whereas the collisions with the rafts were awesome. Like I felt like it was very easy to shoot the pirates. I feel like that worked really, really well. So it's really just the Kraken that I think is a little bit tricky. So here's a thought that I have about this game. And this is just my random dude opinion, but I think it might be something worth thinking about. I love the look and feel of this game. I love the concept. I love the whole. Oh, wait a second. You may have already done what I just asked for. What I was going to suggest is there's so much going on in this game that in order to make it actually playable to kind of casual people that may be kind of bad at it, I was thinking maybe it should be kind of turn-based. Because I feel like I'm trying to do so much under pressure. I'm trying to keep my cannon loaded. I'm trying to make repairs to the raft, which, as you can see, I'm not doing very well. But this fire effect is super cool, by the way. These little transparent cube-shaped things. It seems simple, but it looks amazing. I love this look. Sorry. Anyway, and then there's also a crafting table. So there's so much to do, and doing it all under pressure is kind of tricky. So one thought was maybe it's turn-based. It sounds like you've kind of already got that. So I pressed E, and I think now I'm going to get attacked. Now I've kind of summoned the pirate attackers, which I think is a smart idea. Because the game is fun, but it becomes kind of frustrating when I have to manage so much under pressure that it just feels impossible. So a turn-based system might be kind of cool. On the other hand, though, juggling things all at once is a very authentic experience. It feels like I'm actually in a pirate ship, which is cool. Like I'm just struggling to survive. So I'm just thinking out loud. It may not be the right move, but it's something to think about. By the way, I noticed you have a trajectory arc that shows where my cannonball is going to go. I barely noticed it at first. I would strongly advise making this clearer. Make the line thicker and make it like lighter, because it's a really helpful thing to have, but you almost get lost. You can imagine on a small phone screen, someone might not even know it was there. That's a very minor thing, but I think it could help a lot because people like to know what they're doing. So that's something to think about. But man, sinking these pirate ships is so much fun. You've really got a great game mechanic there. And yes, Plankton Fun, exactly. Turn-based battle, perhaps. Oh my God, Pika P, you read my mind. So I was thinking, your Jolly Roger, your pirate ship flag. I love the look and feel of this game. I love the simple style. Am I getting killed? Yes, I'm getting killed. But while I'm dying, I'm going to comment on pirate flags. So what you can do very easily if you want is you can render or you can generate a texture of a pirate ship and just have it mapped onto this. You've actually got geometry for the pirate ship skull. I'm sorry, pirate flag skull. So something to think about. I think the simple look is great for most of this, but I think it looks a little bit too janky on the pirate flag. Exactly. Make it look exactly like One Piece. Precisely. Change nothing. Okay, so Plankton Fun. This game is great, and I think the most fun thing by far is sinking pirate rafts. So one thing to consider is there might be ways to make the game more about that and less about scrambling to fix your ship under pressure. I think the fixing the ship and the reloading, that's all great. I'm not saying get rid of that. But there might be ways to make that easier for the player to manage. Maybe they do one thing at a time. Maybe the game pauses while they're fixing, repairing the ship. I know it makes it sound like it's too easy that way, but for a lot of casual gamers, that's the difference between wanting to play it and not wanting to play it. Because even though it seems simpler, it might just mean that the game is more fun because you're just not stressed as much. Food for thought, as always, food for thought. Okay, I may have to speed run a little bit because I want to get through all these games, but I'm running out of time. So let's see if I can stop blabbing for once in my life. Peg Burst. I have no idea what this game is, but already I'm impressed by the look. This game is beautiful. This is really cool. Like, I don't even know why this thing is following me, but who cares? This looks great. This has got a really distinct casual game style. It almost looks like a Supercell game in 2D with all the use of the outlines, and this is very cool. Okay. Aim and shoot. So again, this game looks great. This game is so polished. Wow. Really, really good polish. This is so good looking. Look at the 3D effect in these cards, and man, this is really good. Okay. So it looks like the point of the game. By the way, I'm barely paying attention to what I'm supposed to do, which is kind of a good way to test a game. Like if someone is just not paying attention, do they still get it? And I'm now on level 3 without really even knowing what I'm doing, which is a really good sign. My guess is that I just aim at these pegs, and then in addition to destroying the pegs, I want to bounce the ball around in these old multipliers for my score, which seems about right. This is a great example of a game that on the one hand, it feels like it requires skill, but on the other hand, it's like kind of hard to lose. And because it looks so good and it's so polished, I don't know, man. I'm immediately having fun, even though I barely know what the point of the game is. But I'm kind of figuring it out. And I'm flying through levels, which is very satisfying. Lots of reward. I get the confetti and the rainbow stripes at the top and the bottom. This is doing basically everything right. I think this is awesome. Oh, there's a boss. Destroy this boss to remove this buff to gain 6 ball points. Okay. So I guess the boss is just a very, very difficult peg, which is kind of funny. So here's what I suggest everybody follow about this game is me blabbing, ADHD, not paying any attention. In 2 seconds, I'm playing the game, and I have not made a single mistake so far, which is saying a lot because I played terribly during office hours. But it's also satisfying. I feel like I'm scoring points even if I don't totally deserve them. Oh, game over. That's what it means to lose. But look, even dumb old me got all the way to level 6 before I lost, and I immediately want to play again because that was really satisfying. Excellent game, and yeah, I'll say so. Definitely an amazing new creator. So, Potato Bit, great job, buddy. I'm really impressed. Okay, let's check out Hexago from CSpark. CSpark says this is not an Astro Academy game, but that's for me to decide. If this game is successful, I will claim it for Astro Academy. Okay, tap to clear the blocking arrow. Whoa! Look at that. CSpark, we got some bangers today. I'm very impressed, CSpark. So this is, you know what this reminds me of is the game, I'll show it to you, everyone, this game, Parking Pal, which, despite being extremely simple, is one of our top games and has been for a long time. And the point of this game, if you haven't played it, is you just have to move these cars out of a parking lot, but you have to do it in a way where they don't hit each other. So you got to basically work from the outside in. Because, like, for instance, I can't move this blue car without this green car moving, but I can't move him with the purple car moving. And so, you kind of got to work your way through all these different, you can't rotate the cars. So anyway, it kind of reminds me of that because it's kind of got this order I have to follow. So first I get rid of this guy, then I get rid of this guy, then I get rid of this guy. This is so cool. This looks so good. And then presumably it's going to get more complicated. So maybe get rid of this guy, get rid of this guy, get rid of this guy. Another thing this game is doing great, by the way, is that even though I feel like I'm accomplishing something and I'm moving through levels quickly, it's so far at least so easy that I kind of can't lose, which just makes it really satisfying. Like I really have fun playing this because I kind of feel like I'm figuring something out, unraveling a puzzle, but it's also like just so easy that I just kind of get addicted to clicking through it and feeling like an expert. I'm assuming the challenge will kick up, but I also don't mind that I'm on level 6 now and I still haven't really felt too challenged. I actually think that's kind of a good thing. My guess would be this game will probably enjoy some pretty good stats. CSpark, has this been published yet? If so, have you shared the numbers? Which one is this? Not published yet. Okay. So, buddy, this is just phenomenal work. It's so good. Okay, great. As soon as this thing is published, let us know what's going on. Also, please, for the love of God, just call this your Astro Academy game. I want to claim that it was my teaching skill that made you this good. Of course, we know that's not true, but let me have my fake victory. This is so good, man. I really, really love it. Great job. All right, Skull Hunter has taken a break from hunting skulls to make a game called Whimsy Differences. I love the idea that a colorful game called Whimsy Differences is from Skull Hunter. Sorry, I couldn't zoom in on that right. So let's see what Skull Hunter's up to. Okay. So it looks like it's kind of so. What I wonder how this works. I know, like for instance, the butterflies. Oops. Okay, so I guess I just click wherever things are different. Okay. There's one more. Let's see. This is kind of tricky. Like the first ones are easy, but then anyone that's watching that has seen it that I haven't seen it yet is like, ah, the ladybug. Got it. This is very cool. Okay, so different color teapot. Different color flowers in the corner. Okay. I think this is great. This is a really fun game idea. This is like hyper casual, but it's a really cool concept because anybody can play it. Like for instance, I didn't get any onboarding. I actually felt a little confused at first, but it still only took me like a few seconds to figure out what to do, which is often a good way to go. Because on the one hand, you don't want people confused, of course. On the other hand, oh wow, that was a subtle one. On the other hand, you don't want to do so much hand holding that it feels like annoying. And it's also kind of fun when people figure things out on their own. It's a fine balance because if you make it too difficult, people aren't going to play your game. But this is great. This is really good. Skull Hunter, has this been published yet?
Yes, it has been published, but
How's it doing?
not so good as I would
What's not
say.
so good? What is not so good?
Let me see. So currently oh wait, not that it's not been published, but it has already 228 plays, but the
Mhm.
median is like 41 seconds.
Okay, well, so that's a bad median time, but you've got so few plays that you should give it at least a day or two before you draw any conclusions. That number is going to change wildly over the next day or two. So it may get better, it may not get better, but you just don't know yet. So I think for now, this is good enough to test it. I wouldn't make any changes yet. I think what you've done very well. It's always possible. This is just always one possibility is that no matter how good your game is, people just don't want to play it. It's just a matter of preference. So it sucks, but that is just a part of life. But I think so far we can't draw any conclusions. And I don't see anything obviously wrong with your game. I think it's well made. So give it a day or two. And then if it still isn't where we want it, then we can talk about ways to possibly improve it. But I wouldn't stress yet. And I do think it's really good. So.
Alrighty, I just wanted to take a little break from my other type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
games and wanted to try out something different.
No, and that's such a smart move. Like we all kind of have a type, like we tend to make games of a certain kind, but it's really good if nothing else, just kind of a personal growth exercise to just challenge yourself with a different style of game. I think it's good for all of us to do that. So, great job.
Yep, definitely.
Oh wow, look at this. Belittle has taken the power washing genre and put it into like an isometric 3D world, which I did not see coming. That was not I refuse to use the phrase bingo card, but it wasn't on mine. I really love how original this is. This is just a wild and unexpectedly elaborate concept for power washing. So I love this idea and I love the visual, but I am noticing that it doesn't seem possible to finish cleaning this door. Am I right about that?
Can you maybe move with WASD?
Oh, look at that. Wow. So that I had no idea. It didn't occur to me that I would need to move, but it actually okay, so it's kind of helping. Okay, so there's definitely something up. Um, if you test it with a few more people, if other people realize they can move around, then it's no problem. If anyone else didn't realize that, I might throw in a little, line of tutorial text. Also, super minor, will not affect your playtime, but I love this character. It's really well rendered. Just notice the aspect ratio seems wrong. Like from this angle, it looks too squashed. From this angle, and there's no easy way to fix that. Just throw some extra wishes at Astra saying, when it's facing north, make it 20% wider, that kind of thing, until you just get it right. It's close. It looks good, but it needs a little bit of tweaking. Okay, so B Little says it's a prototype. That's fine, but I think even with a couple little glitches, I really like where this is going. It looks super original. It's cute. It's fun, and it's a very interesting take on power washing.
I think I saw this type of game somewhere, and the idea is very great. But I didn't know it was possible to be done here like this.
Yeah.
Basically,
Almost
the
anything's possible. If you put enough work in, almost anything can be done. Some's harder than others, but it's almost always possible. I know there's no more levels, but it is kind of fun to finish it up.
yeah, the other game that's based on this, there you are supposed to clean out the fridge and stuff like that. So basically, the whole kitchen, but it's
Uh-huh.
extremely very nice.
Super cool. All right, well, keep us posted, Be Little. I want to see more of that. I think we have one more Be Little game that now I'm very excited about, kart racing. Ooh, look at this. Well, okay, so clearly someone has taken a page from the Toxic playbook and is importing full-on animated 3D meshes. This is amazing. Amazing visuals. I mean, mostly those backgrounds. Got to work on those. But the track looks great. Obviously, this professionally made animated Donkey Kong kart is very cool. I am playing with a keyboard, which maybe not be ideal, but oh wait, there's power shift, there's power drifting. Sorry, let's see. So let's see if I can. Ooh, whoa! So it's very the steering is way too light and loose, but the power sliding makes it a lot more playable. I mean, maybe not considering how I'm performing, but like check this out. If I go around this corner, this is well, okay, that was a bad example. But a lot of these corners are pretty tricky to get around. You'll see I'm just sliding all the way off course. But the drift is actually really well done. So I'm just going to hit a drift and then still didn't quite do it perfectly, but much closer. This is, and it leaves the tracks on the behind me, the skid marks. This is awesome. Obviously, this looks like it's an early stage, but I could see this getting really good. Great job, Little. This is an awesome start. Oh, let's see. Music? This is very Nintendo sounding. Super cool. Okay, one more game, then I got to run. But this has been great, guys. I really will try to get through my DM backlog and get into the chat today. I want to keep talking about. It sounds like a monkey screeching. I want to keep talking about performance, game performance, median playtime, that kind of thing. Oh, another Be Little. Boy, Be Little is like today's Erica. Just game after game after game. Oh, we talked about this game last time. I thought this game was great. And I love these animations. This is really cool. And notice this is like, I don't even realize this is a tutorial because I'm playing through it and it's really easy, but it kind of is. Like, it teaches me how to play the game. If I recall, last time I played the game, I had two thoughts, both of which I think have been addressed. One was that in the original tutorial, it wasn't clear that once I tap a vial, I tap the other one to pour it in, and this now spells that out, which is great. And I also had suggested that maybe the animation could be a little bit faster because even though they looked really good, it felt slow enough that it might just make people feel like it's delaying for no reason. And it definitely feels faster. I don't know if it is, but it feels less sluggish to me, which is really cool. So, oh man, this is just great. This is really good. This is such a fun puzzle concept. And you have achieved office hours nirvana, which is, as is always the best case scenario. I am not even thinking about any of you guys right now. I'm just playing because it's fun. This game is great. This is really good. Oh wow, is that the title appears after the third level? Whoa, look at all this. Okay, so this is like a great example of what I was talking about earlier, which is you're starting off playing this very simple game. You're going level by level, and then out of nowhere, there's like lore and a whole different visual experience with whatever this is. Yeah, wow, there's a lot going on here. But this is great because this is like it starts off simple, and then look, now it's up in the ante in terms of complexity and what's available, options. So that's really cool. These are clipped. I'd fix that. But I love that the game starts off simple to get me going and then adds all this extra stuff. So again, I say this all the time, but look at this. When the game starts, I am dropped, other than that tap to start screen, I am dropped right into the game. And so even though there's all these other cool things coming, the creator has not made me click through everything at first. I earn my way into the more complicated stuff that comes later, which is kind of the best of both worlds because now your game can have all this great detail and depth, but it's not overwhelming to a first-time player. So nicely done, Be Little. This is really cool. Okay, so again, just to recap, everybody, it's all about median playtime. So keep sharing. if anybody got advice from me or for anybody else, try making some updates. By the way, I suggest keeping like a little log, like a file on your computer or something that's just like, here's the date I made a change, here's what the playtime was at that time, and here's what I changed. And then when you check in a day or two later, you can do some comparisons over time and see if one thing was correlated with a gain in time and one thing wasn't or whatever. So I would suggest that as well. It's a really, really good way to just keep track of what you're doing. And let's see if we can get our playtimes up, everybody. See you all tomorrow, and I really will try to be in the thread more today. Bye, guys.
Have a good one.